Here's a loquat tree covered with a passion fruit, and this passion fruit has lots of fruit all over, getting ready to ripen up. Here's my white supulti. As you can see, it's getting huge. Oh, I finished my pavers in the driveway. It was good. Get this pad in front. Pineapples all underneath my trees everywhere. Dragon fruit of 2 different kinds. Cherry tree there. I'll come around so you can see it. Of course, there's pineapples on all these, practically on all these pineapple plants. Blackberries. I interplant a lot of different things. There's a cherry tree. There's other cherry trees you can see from up top there. Another cherry tree. I've had some serious problems with my cherries. I had a bacteria invading them and causing fermentation of the stem and rot. And here's another view of the passion fruits. In fact, here's one on the ground. I'm going to pick it up now and ripen it someplace else to eat it. Blackberry bush down here. More pineapples under there. Now let's go in through the new driveway side gate entrance. As you can see, I have a Glen mango here. Some nice mangoes forming on a very small mango tree. Let's go in through the gate. Yes, I video record on my property. No trespassing to keep everybody out that I don't want. More pineapples in the back. These are coconut trees. They kind of produce coconut water. I don't know what height you would call these, but they're about 2 years old, maybe a little longer, I can't remember. And then here's that Glen mango. The trunk is really not that big. I mean, if you look at my hand, the trunk is only about, in diameter, about 2.5 inches. At the bottom it's a lot bigger, but it's not really part of the, technically part of the tree. That's where the graft joint is. And it's got about 15 mangoes on that little tree, or more. It's done very nice. I've got another stand here of dragon fruit. They're all getting ready to go into flowering soon. Various types of dragon fruit, as a matter of fact, not just one. And all that you see green on the bottom, that's all mint. I use it to make mojitos. In case you don't know what that is, that's a drink. Here is that grafted 4 type of fruit. Peach tree, which has nectarines, peach, plum, and apricot. The apricot one seems to have an issue. I think it's from the same bacteria causing oozing that I've had on the other stone fruit, which is the cherries. But I've been giving it antibiotics to the, it's called bactericide, but it's technically it's antibiotic. Just like a human would take, no different. And here are other peach trees. That's a plum tree there. That's another peach tree, and these are 2 plum trees, or a nectarine tree, and these are peach trees. There's my Inga, which is a ice cream bean tree, and it's gotten huge. It's growing fast. I expect it'll be fruiting, if not this year, next for sure, because it's that size now. My guanabana froze to death. That's all that's left of it. So guanabanas in Tampa, Florida, not a good idea. My air plants are doing beautifully still, as you can see there. And by the way, that's what the side of the yard looks like. The gate I just went through. This annoying cat. He follows me around everywhere like I'm his master, and he's not even my cat. There's an unknown tree, and it has fruit on it. I'll go into details with those later. In the background, you'll see a lychee. That's that tree back there, and you can see fruit on it. right there. I'll bring it in. There's lychee fruits that aren't red yet. And I've got more pineapples. We love pineapples. There's a male kiwi that I'm going to train to grow up into this trellis here. And then 2 females on that side, which are already reaching top. Well, my sprinklers are on, so I'm getting wet while doing this. And let's go around here and face this tree here. This is a mango tree. It hasn't flowered yet. I expect it'll be flowering soon, along with another one that it's a late variety. But if it doesn't, well, next year. It's already produced fruit before. Then coming over here, muscadines. Let me get back away from this water. Look at it pulling up everywhere. Yeah. Muscadines right here. There's 5 of those there, different types. And as you can see, they're flowering right there. Right there. Some actually have grapes on it already. But they're flowering. They're going to continue to flower for quite some time and produce more grapes. Let's go on this back side here. Here's my starfruit tree next to this rental that I have here, Airbnb. And it's flowering, as you can see there, flowers. And as you can see, let's see where, there's actual fruit on that branch there. There's fruit in many places, but also, that's just one area I'm showing you. Now let's get through here underneath this tree. There's a Matsumoto persimmon, which needs to grow. It's a slow grower, but eventually it'll get to size where it'll produce some fruit. And here is a pineapple pear that I planted, and it's split off at the bottom. That's the rootstock growing. But if I'm not mistaken, the rootstock is supposed to be some kind of Persian apple, so I'm going to let it grow and see what kind of fruit it produces. Here's a sugar pear that I planted last year. It's getting there. It's growing slowly. Certain ones grow slowly. Here is my Pakistani mulberry, which I'm thinking about moving to another corner. I'm going to have to dig it up, and it's getting huge already. But it grows too big and it blocks light to all this stuff here, so I have to keep it small, and I don't like to keep pruning it back too much. But there's the starfruit. As you can see, it's getting huge. Fast grower, man. Oof. I'm gonna have to keep it cut back too, which I do with most trees anyway, so it's not a big deal. All right, back to well, and I guess on my last video I didn't show that I finished the pavers, but I finished all the pavers for now. I'm gonna change out all these large stones in the future because I don't like them. Well, this stuff's pretty expensive, so I'm gonna wait. All right, let's go to the back of the yard. And there's a shed to store things in. But there's the Pakistani behind the rental. A lime tree that produces a lot of limes, Persian lime, throughout the year. And it has limes on it. I have some blueberries, blackberries, entangled in the mess of trees. Satsuma tangerine right here. I was hoping to produce something this year, but I finally took the coverings off all the citrus, and I'm using a systemic pesticide, nicotinoid, to prevent the bugs from proliferating on the plants. Seems to be working good for the citrus. Plus, I'm still using the antibacterial, or the antibiotic, to keep the greening off them. So it seems to be working. Trees are looking pretty good. And these are red navels. There's another tree inside there. It's hard to tell, but it's in there. You can see the trunk at the bottom down there. There's the trunk from that one, the trunk from the Satsuma. All kinds of figs in the background. And of course, they're growing figs. Yeah, more blueberry, blackberries. And This is a tree that I planted early last year. It's gotten huge. This is a chocolate avocado. And my mango tree, as usual, is doing real good. Producing a lot of mangoes. Although the winds and stuff had dropped so many mangoes. I mean, they were all over the yard. There's a bunch I put in this trap to catch possum that keeps coming in this yard. And they may be knocking off more mangoes. This is the cogshaw mango that I've had. Plenty of fig trees back there. Oh, here's my stock for producing dragon fruit, which I sometimes sell. Don't always. Here's the sweet grapes, or the table grapes as people would call them. And as you can see, they're loaded with grapes. These are the ones you would buy at the store to eat. Yeah, they're getting better and better at producing. This one still hasn't come out yet. I'm expecting it to. Hopefully it's not dead. I haven't seen any growth yet. Maybe it's a late bloomer, I don't know. The apple tree is getting apples. I've been hand pollinating from another tree because it's very hard to get pollination on these apples here in Florida. If one flowers, I touch it with a brush and then touch it to another one. I've got 3 apple trees here and they're blooming at the same time. This is a Dorset, an Anna, and a Fuji, believe it or not. The Fuji's producing flowers here in Tampa, Florida. And this is a northern Fuji, not something adapted. This is another mandarin tree. I can't remember. Oh, I think it's a honey murcot. Yeah, honey murcot. It's got some nice tangerines forming on it. Of course, mint all over the place. And behind the muscadine stand that I have here, there's a Persian lime, small still but growing. This is a Mayer lemon, and it's got some lemons, so I'm not trying to grow lemons on it yet. I'm trying to wait for it to get bigger. And that one's another type of lemon. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Eureka lemon, yeah. And this is a mandarin tree right here that I grew from seed. You saw it in the planter on the last video. There's a little tiny one. I told you it's a secret. And here's another one I planted on the other side. I've got like 4 of them growing. And of course I've got all kinds of planters with fig trees and tamarind trees, sweet tamarind. For those of you who know what a tamarind is, I've got a lot of those all over the yard. I'm literally going to start selling tamarinds. These are about 2 years old. So in another 4 years, they'll start producing tamarinds. Here's a red mamey, what you would call a mamey supulti, which is just mamey to me. And these are Rolina, delicioso. There's 2 seedlings here. You can't see them because that mint's growing in over them. Get that mint away from them. And of course the pineapple's in the way too. But there's 2 of them. 2 stems. And this is Alberta peach and an early Alberta. Both growing. And they did flowers, so they produce flowers. My 2 guava trees. Let me back up so you can see it. The stems. And I've got a white guava. Strange because I don't really know what species it is. I grew that one from seed and it's loaded. And believe it or not, guavas can produce fruit from seed in literally 3 years. So that's started producing at 3 years. It's now like 4, and it's massively producing now. This standard navel tree. There's the trunk. And this, of course, has got navel oranges on it. This is a type of grapefruit, a red ruby grapefruit. It's supposed to be really sweet. Can't wait for that. The Hamlin is doing horrible. I think it's the citrus green that harmed it, and so is this other navel here. Is that a navel? No, I think that's a Valencia, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember. Let me see if the tag still says Valencia. Yeah, it's a Valencia. I mean, it's got fruit, but it's not growing well. Example of the mangoes being knocked off by the wind. We had some strong winds this weekend. And this is the temple orange, which is really a mandarin, not an orange. But it's got quite a few on there. There's the navel orange again. It's got some nice oranges on it. And I'm not really trying to grow oranges on a tree that small, but I figured I'll let it go. What the hell? There's a majestic. No, Shangri-La mulberry. As you can tell, the berries are huge on it compared to other mulberries. These things are big. And this is a weeping mulberry in the back, right next to it. Huge trunk. I keep cutting it back, but it's got huge berries. I mean, almost as big as the Shangri-La. And of course, when they're red, they're tart, but when they're black, they're sweet. More pineapples with fruit. And here is a Angie mango, which was doing very poorly, and now this year shot up. Treating it with that antibacterial product has actually helped it grow very well. It's prevented any of that stem rotting that it was having. And here's a everbearing mulberry, and it's gotten pretty big. I keep having to cut it back too. Another pineapple, all kinds of figs, and I have rootstock for apples that I haven't grafted yet. I'm going to. I'm growing potatoes in these planters just because I like fresh potatoes every now and then. And this is a turkey fig, and this one's a northern berry fig. I forget what it's called, but it's really red on the inside. It's strange, different from any other fig. It's super delicious that my cousin sent me from California. It's actually growing very well. And this one's a pollinator. It's a male fig tree. Should produce figs that have pollen to pollinate the other figs. If it pollinates them, they'll grow bigger. This is the larger. Believe it or not, this was planted at the same time as the other two little ones you saw over there. This is a larger Rolina delicioso, which is a type of annona. And this thing will probably be producing fruit next year. If it doesn't flower this year, I'd be surprised. And these are two more of those mandarins that I told you were secret that I still have here. I haven't done anything with them. And it's a Persian lime tree. I mean, it produces a lot of limes, so I'm very very happy with that one. More muscadines. I like my muscadines. They're super delicious. These are new species from there over. This one's not a muscadine, but it's a very seedy grape. I don't really care for it, but I haven't killed it. As you can see, these are doing pretty good. Key lime's getting big. And this is the one that has that branch of a grapefruit, pink grapefruit. Here is the persimmon. This is a Sageo persimmon, and it's got fruit. Every branch has 2 or 3 fruit or more on it, so it's doing real good. The trunk's only about 2.5, 3 inches. The tree is massive. Heavy producer. The fruit were delicious last year. Here's the pear trees. This is the one that's 4 in 1. I keep having to cut it back because some branches overgrow the other ones, so I keep those back while I let the other ones grow more. And there's another pineapple pear back here, which I'm growing them together. I figure they'll pollinate each other, whichever. They'll grow good. There's some more apple rootstock. Here is the antimoya that I'm growing, and it's just doing poorly as hell. It has been forever. I think the soil's been too sweet. I've been adding acid, and they've been turning greener. The leaves weren't very green before; they were yellow. Here's another unknown tree. This one's pretty big. It's 7, 8 foot tall, about 6 foot wide, and it has fruit. I mean, both of the unknowns are producing fruit. I'll show you one right here. fruit if I can get past the shade. Jeez, hard to see for me. And here's the other cherry trees. They're doing poorly from that infection that it has. It killed off several branches, big ones, as you can see here. Here, here, here. And you can see some of the oozing here from it. It might not survive. And that's the rainier cherry, in fact. Hate losing it, but it might be a goner already. I have another one here that's supposed to be for Florida, but it's not very disease resistant, if you ask me. This is one that's being sold as a Florida cherry, the Royal Crimson Cherry. And I don't know, maybe it'll survive. This one's from I forget, some special farm that's producing them in Florida. Air plants. And another stand of dragon fruit. That one's getting ready to flower right there. And that's it for all the fruit trees out here that I can think of. The walkway. Last time you saw this, I don't think it was completed. And now the irrigation's working over here. Whew, raining. But I'm happy so far with the way things are going here. Yep. Have to cut back these things. They're growing out pretty far now. And that's it, folks. Until next time. I'm gonna in the future put in some specific videos on certain things. But for now, that's it.